It gives me immense pleasure to introduce to you the guest of honor for today, Dr. Nigdi, serves the Vice President Corporate Strategy and Marketing at Praj Industries Limited. Praj is India's leading climate action organization in the bioeconomy space. They provide end-to-end technology solutions from R&D to D&D, D&D's design and deployment to customers in the process industry globally. Dr. Udvikar holds a doctorate in management in addition to electronics and telecommunication engineering from Pune University. His research thesis revolves around renewable energy and strategies for growth and entry into the international markets. He has successfully completed a course on Global Account Management GAM till 2007 at the Account Management Center of University of St. Gallen, Switzerland. He's actively participated in several senior management executive learning and development programs by CCL USA and ISB India. So deals with building mutually rewarding strategic alliances with partners, customer experience management, and new product deployment. He's also been a keynote speaker at various platforms all over the world, and he's worked in Singapore, USA, and UAE as well on reputation. With over 30 years of industry experience in product and project businesses, Dr. Udvikar has worked in the international and domestic markets. He has an established track record in the sales, marketing, business deployment and strategy domain with leading international companies. Dr. Udvikar has a long-standing association with CII, Indo-American Chamber of Commerce and Pune Management Association. He is presently a member of the CII Western Regions Committee on Innovation, Technology and Digitalization. He has authored several leadership columns and leading articles in newspapers. And he has also published technical and management papers in international and domestic journals. In his leisure time, he likes to spend time with his family, reading management books and gardening. So we'll be speaking to you on the topic, stepping into the future today. Sir, I request you to please take charge and address the august audience.
So good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Kirti ma'am, Janvi ma'am, Kajal ma'am, all the faculty members. It's so wonderful to be here at the campus yet again. Thank you for that very generous and long introduction. Sometimes embarrassing when you have, Kirti ma'am's credential read out and you feel that, well, it's better you would have skipped the introduction. And with this nice speech Mr. Haider gave, actually he made my job very easy, to be honest. And I had a long presentation, but somehow I had got a feeling that Kajal ma'am must have told him what am I going to speak, and he has almost borrowed a leaf from my book. But nevertheless, here is my presentation structured. Alright, you can read, right? So, I am going to talk about a few concepts here. After looking at some, in fact, even before we go to some concepts, I'm going to talk about the micro and microeconomic environment that we are in today. I'm going to touch upon some concepts. These are just the concepts, probably deep-rooted. It would take you a while and some study in the course of 2 years. So look at all this deck like a precursor or a jhalak or a glimpse of things to come your way. Then we are going to talk a little bit about what kind of specialization should student choose. And I saw that in Q&A there was somebody asking that I want to go to finance and what should I do and so on. So we'll look at some of those specializations. Specializations are like branching out from a junction, So if you take a finance specialization road where it takes you HR and so on, so we are going to look at what are the career opportunities that are in store when you take that route. We are also going to talk a little bit about what corporates look for, and I think Mr. Haider has already kind of stolen the thunder from my presentation because he's already spoken about things. He has extensive question and answer. I think the students also showed a lot of interest, so there are quite a few things in there and some success formula, again a lot that he has spoken. So because some things are universal, right? We don't and then we'll have some recommendations for you. So just to get started, and the slides are busy, but I'm sure you can read. I'm going to touch upon some of the points here. So what's happening around us in a microeconomic environment? We have a prolonged war, we have an energy crisis, we have food crisis, we have inflation going on there. There are evils of climate change, extreme weather events. You have setbacks in terms of supplies, commodity prices going up. All this microenvironment, and I'm sure they will have some topics on economics also as a part of the coursework. So all this is an environment that we live in today, and I'm going to come to VUCA in a minute, but basically we are trying to tell you that we are all operating in a contextual world, and the context is often dynamic in nature. So what I'm telling here is a snapshot that you have today. Terrorism is a problem that the world hasn't been able to solve. Environmental concerns continue to be looming, whether it is floods, droughts, heat waves, earthquakes, whatnot, and they cause immense damage to property, human lives, and so on. And obviously campaigns like Make in India, campaigns like Atmanirbhar Bharat are supposed to make India very strong and a strong, resilient, domestic, self-sustaining economy. And yet we want foreign exchange investments, FDIs, and we are asking the multinationals to come and invest in India. So there is a kind of a tug of war going on there, that you want multinationals to come in, global corporations to invest in India, and yet you want to protect your Indian market. So what we call is a global, local. That's the kind of dynamics. And I'm mindful that in this induction program, this is little bit drinking through a fire hose. There is too much gyan coming your way. It's impossible to drink through the fire hose. The fire hose, the water comes out in huge speed and bulk, so you can't quite. But the point, and I think Mr. Haidar said it, just make note of these things. MBA is all about self-learning, self-development. And I think a lot of things Mr. Haidar spoke is that you prepare for your MBA, you study, you come back and ask questions in the class. You work in a group. So some of these things are probably you want to make note of and go and perfect and get more information about. So that's a little bit like a microeconomic environment. But then coming to the business management, my best achievement, and that's the best full form I've ever heard, and I think that should be your immediate target. Can MBA be my best individual, best achievement so far? And that's the target with which you go. And on the business side, therefore, what we are seeing is an extremely fierce competition. Tell me a sector, tell me a product, tell me a company that is not competitive in nature. Right? So that's the reality of life. So there is a trend setter, and there is a innovator, and there are smart followers. There is a leader and there are me too players. To hit the road running, there is Apple. What Apple does is quickly adopted by Samsung, is quickly made cost competitive by Xiaomi, again by Vivo, and so on. What we are trying to say is that these people will come and match feature to feature of every product, and if that's true about mobiles, which is what we use, all of us. It's also true about automobiles. It's also true about any other product or service that you take. So there is competition, and therefore the product differentiators, and that's a concept you will learn. Some of you are second year students also, as Madam pointed out in the session. They would have learned that the product life cycles are dying. There was an era of ambassadors and Fiat cars which ran for decades, or the Bajaj scooters that ran for decades. But today every company, every other automobile manufacturer, two-wheeler or four-wheeler, is actually phasing out and phasing in new models, which is actually a drop of product life cycle, because the differentiators are dying. Emittents are coming. all of us as consumers are very knowledgeable, because before we make any decision, we surf on the internet, we research, we take referrals, so we are becoming very knowledgeable. And as a result, we keep demanding more and more for less and less. We run feature comparison, we run price comparison, we run service comparison, we look at guarantees, lifetime investment costs, and so on. And then ask difficult questions. So that's the era that we are in. Customers are becoming more knowledgeable. And what do companies have? Choice. They don't have choice. They have to innovate. Otherwise you become obsolete, right? All of us very famously talk about Nokia and Kodak, and there are so many examples of Xerox, of the companies that did not innovate, that did not develop new products, which actually then that resulted in the death of the company. So innovation, new product development is not a matter of choice, but it is critical factor for survival and growth, right? But all this requires money. And where is that money going to come from? So if you invest money in the product development, that money has to be recovered. That recovery takes some time, but we just said that product life cycles are crashing. That means shelf life of the product is limited. In that limited shelf life, you have to extract not just the product pricing, but also premium because of the R&D investments, which puts lot of pressure on the financial performance. And that's where companies are reporting difficult financial performance. If you are following the big shake-up in the tech space, whether it is Amazon, Twitter, Google, there is a hiring and firing going on because they invested heavily in the new technologies which are not dividend yielding, which are not profitable, which are not sustainable, and that is stressing their financial performance, so they have to actually get rid of people. And I think Mr. Haider also said today, what he said people are looking for is the best talent. So the war out there is not for technology, not for money, not for customers, but is for the talent. So acquiring, retaining and growing your employees is unprecedentedly important. There are executive search firms, headhunting firms, portals, Naukri.com, LinkedIn, where you get offers every now and then, and at young age people trade offers. So that's the situation that we are living in. Tech descriptions he spoke about. So the game now is played on a partnership mode. Nobody can do everything, but everybody can do something. So why not synergize? Why not become partners? So then in that case, you are seeing that the competitors are coming together to share the infrastructure. Two telecom companies come and share the tower infrastructure cost. Two aviation companies come and share the cargo terminal. Right? So these are the era of partnerships. You know what? All of us buy on Amazon and Flipkart. Do you think they make products? They don't make products. They just provide a buying selling platform. But they have numerous partners in some other capacity. The partnership is across the value chain. I'm going to talk about value chain concept also. So the term that you need to remember is VUCA. Anyone heard this term before?
Yes.
You guys, no, not the professors, come on. The professors are smarter than students. But your challenge is you have to turn the tide in 2 years. Right? Today, your professors have a head start on you. But you have a head start over them by way of time and age on your side. So these 2 years, you have to work harder and smarter and come back to them with ideas that they haven't thought of. So anyway, so the VUCA is a new reality, and I'm going to talk about VUCA a little bit here. But I think I do want you to remember this Donald Rumsfeld's famous quote. There are known knowns. There are things that we know. There are known unknowns. There are things that we know that we do not know. But what we need to be worried about is unknown unknowns. We don't know what we don't know. And take pandemic or this corona outbreak as an example. We did not know what is this corona, what is this all about, how to deal with it. how it can impact human lives, economy, society and so on. So it is very important to be prepared for the eventuality that is not foreseen. So unknown unknowns is what you need to constantly worry about, and that's about risk mitigation. But diving deep into this VUCA, it stands for volatility. So we say the business environment is very volatile. What is volatility? It is constantly changing nature, the dynamics is evolving. And what are its effects? It causes risk to the business. And I'm giving you the oil and commodity prices. Not long ago, during the pandemic term, the oil prices had gone sub-zero, which means that the oil producers had to pay money for people to buy oil. And today the oil prices are $100 and above because of the energy crisis. That's volatility. Within a time of sub-zero to a time of over $100. And at best it had gone to $160. And that is why you have these Gulf countries, which rich oil dynasties hosting this swanky World Cup events based on the oil money, So, but that volatility affects us because we don't have oil, we import oil, and that volatility changes our price. Everything is oil dependent. Oil becomes expensive, our everyday vegetables are expensive, everyday grocery is expensive. So we have to deal with this volatility. For that we need to take proactive actions. For that we need to develop some kind of a vision to be able to sell ourselves to. And then there is uncertainty. Uncertainty is about unpredictability. We don't know what's in store. We don't know what it will be. And one example I am giving here is Indo-US trade war, Indo-China, America-China trade war, and also Indo-China war, in the sense of ban list and import duties and tariff duties. That creates huge uncertainty because China is a known factory of the world. Over 16 or 17% of global economy is dependent on China. It is the second largest economy in the world. So if their supply chains get affected, like it had happened during the commodity spike or the coal supply spike, there are effects felt in other nations like India. So there is uncertainty. There was a situation whether we get electricity or no after 4 days, because of the coal market globally was extremely on short supply, because everybody went for green energy and they shut the coal mining and so on. So uncertainty is a new reality. Then we come to complexity. There are things which are complex, they are task oriented, there are multiple facets which are not easy to handle, right? So when GST was introduced, when currency was demonetized, people did not know the complexities involved. What are the compliance norms? What is the filing procedures? What is FERA, FEMA? What is that I need to do? So this complex world is not easy to decode. And that requires clarity. That requires taking guidance from the experts. That requires some kind of creative thinking, right? So fiscal reforms was one thing that we talked. And then there is ambiguity, ideal versus actual, misinterpretation. Now, one of the things is Britain's exit from European Union. It has happened, but what does it mean to us? What it means to Indian companies operating in Britain who were enjoying the European Union benefits, or Indian companies operating in European Union but were also supplying to UK, or the collaborators. All these trade wars means what to us? Or whether we have this confederation of parties, COP27 summit that got concluded in Egypt. So there is a loss and damage clause, there are some commitments which are made. What do they mean to us? So there is ambiguity about it. There is no clarity. There is a loss and damage fund which is to be given to the LCD, least developed countries or island countries which have extreme risks of climate change. There is country like Maldives. The highest point in Maldives is just 1 meter above the sea level. So they are very vulnerable to the glaciers melting and the country will submerge. But these loss and damage funds, who will give to who is not clear. So that's ambiguous. Whether India will get or India will have to pay is not clear. So this ambiguity. So VUCA is a new reality. And I'm going to quickly quote you an example. We had one gentleman on the board of our company, and he actually he ran businesses, he sold businesses, he acquired businesses, he was a CEO. I mean, all things he had done in life. And he was telling that I had done everything I thought, but the first hit I got was 1991 when the economy liberalized. Suddenly we found ourselves to be in a situation facing global competition. So we had to redefine our strategies and redefine our goals and objectives. Then in 10 years time there was a Y2K eventuality, which again changed the whole paradigm. Then again 2008 there was subprime lending crisis. 2010 there was double dip recession. Then again we had pandemic. So what we are trying to tell you is we are living in a world which is constantly evolving and changing. So the old rules of the game, the old paradigm, context do not hold good. Right? Your parents or your grandparents studied in an era which had no computers, which had no calculators. You were not allowed to use this. But today, children say that I don't need to remember stanzas because we have all these things available. You don't need architects, don't need to have a sketching skill, there is a CAD. So the paradigm is changing. So the old experience is not relevant anymore. And that VUCA environment in new times to come will always evolve. During the pandemic time, all the tech companies, stocks and everything was off the roof because everything was online. The world discovered that everything can run with everybody sitting at home almost. Thanks to the technology. We had this video conferencing platform, tech companies, I mean they were absolutely having a purple patch. And look at what happened to them in 2 years' time. Hiring, firing, capitalization down by 75%, financial performance hurt. So I think you guys need to realize that VUCA is a new reality. You need to live with it and you have to master the art of living with it. Now there is a concept of customer. In the interest of time I can't make much interactive, but you must understand the concept of customer is very far-fetching. It is not the only one who pays for your products and services. There is a concept of internal customers in every organization. You know, R&D has an internal customer in the form of design. Design has internal customer in the form of manufacture. Procurement has internal customers in the form of manufacture. Then there is logistics department. Then there is sales department. And then there is a customer. But then in the process there are people who add value to the chain and there are people who influence this chain. Everybody is a customer. Every third party you work with is a customer. And that concept you must imbibe by heart. There is a concept of service level agreements, SLAs, between two departments. There has to be service level agreement. For me to be able to service you, you will have to give me inputs to be able to give you the answer in time, cost, quality, quantity, risk as specified. So the concept of customer is far-fetching. What is going to happen in 2 years' time? You are going to find yourself in working for one of these industries. The good news is which of these is a choice that rests with you. The good news is that you have 2 years to prepare which of this circle is something which is close to my heart. The bad news or not so good news is that the journey from your heart to, from concept to reality is not smooth. Every single day, and it's going to come in my recommendation, you got to focus on the sector and top 3 players in that sector and follow them every day. There is plan A, which is my best case scenario, and then there is plan B, which is my median case scenario, second best case scenario. I would like to work for banks or financial institutions, is my plan A. But if that doesn't work, I will work for insurance companies or some companies which are involved in financial things. So from tomorrow I will start following what is the world of finance looking like, which are the top 3 banks in India, which are the top 3 financial institutions in India, which are the top 3 insurance companies in India, how they work, are they publicly listed, what kind of hiring do they do, what kind of financial performance do they report, are they profitable, which part of the world they operate in, and all that information is available in public domain. If I have to go in automobile space, will electric vehicles be the future or hybrid vehicles be the future? How will I finance electric vehicles? What about environment compliances for them? So there is a world of things happening in that industry, and your job is 2 years to prepare the language, terminologies, big boys, influencers, wheelers, dealers, flops, hits and misses, all that to do with that sector. When you come for the interview at the end of 2 years here, you are going to look eye into eye with that interviewer and talk about what is happening in his industry to the best of your knowledge. And that will impress them. That will get you where you want to go. But to be able to talk sense to that person, you still need some basics of marketing, operations, customer management, digitalization, accounting, economics, which is what is going to prepare you. My brother, who is a nuclear scientist in America, told me one thing that has stayed with me forever. He told me education is like a toolkit or a knowledge that you get when you graduate. But merely that toolkit won't do. How do you apply that toolkit and how do you make things happen is what decides whether you can actually make an impact, make a difference, whether you are effective, whether you are hiring worthy. And you can take examples all around. All of us have often gone to a puncture shop where the puncture fellow fixes the puncture. Try doing it yourself. The process is simple. Can you do it? You won't find it easy to do. And if you want to find it easy to do, you have to do it so many times. And time is now, here, 2 years. I want to join the financial sector. So financial modeling is one of the requirements. How to do financial modeling? I have 2 years to learn from today. I want to know what is CRR, what is repo rate, what is foreign exchange, why rupee is falling, why rupee is rising, how is the budget, is it deficit budget, is it surplus budget, what does it mean? Are the kind of questions you will have to have answered to in 2 years preparation, so that when you talk to a bank, you can say that, you know, I would like to work for a bank where I would like to work as an analyst who can throw insights on the union budget. And the interviewer will be shocked. And you can tell 4 things about what you have known about budget. But that's the preparation we are talking. But it all starts with what Mr. Haider said, have a vision. And that's going to come some slides in my presentation. So the concept of value chain is extremely important for you to understand. And these are big concepts. I go back to that drinking through the fire hose analogy. Too hard to digest in day 1, day 2, whatever they are here. But you make a note, what is value chain? End to end, conception to realization and life cycle management. That is the value chain. How do you create value for your customers? Where do you source components from? How do you make the technology? How do you deliver the product? How do you service the product? How do you maintain the product? Is a concept of value chain that you must know. And then, you know, break down and you will know. For example, what we have said here is basically there is sales, projects and there is service. It's a simplified version in a B2B domain. It could be different for different industries. But we got to know what are we going to do, what are we going to like. And the choice rests with you. Which part of the value chain you find your heart in? And I have some slides talking on that as well. So there is a concept of value creation, and then this graph is nice one. I think this is a wonderful graph, and I really feel that when I was a student, somebody had shown me this 2x2 matrix. So there is a customer criticality value on the x-axis, something that customer wants. And then there is this internal strength of the company on the y-axis, right? So what you have here is a sweet spot. So this is x-axis where the customer values it, and there is a y-axis where you have it. Customer values it, you have it, wow, that's a sweet spot. I have it, customer wants it, competitor doesn't have it. Lovely. You are the only one. That's the good news. But not so good news is someone is going to find out this is where the niche is, sweet spot is. So he's going to get there. So you have to constantly up the ante, right? So what you are good at, what the campus recruiter would want to see, you need to develop. This is true on every walk of life. Don't operate in a zone where you are not good, and nobody values it. Try to move away from what you are not strong at, but what customers want. I have no passion for real estate. Why would I even appear for that interview? Why would I even know about construction cost? Why would I know about the commodity pricing that goes in real estate? I would rather not go there, but that choice has to be made. So this 2x2 value creation concept is the one that for lifetime. And then obviously like an iceberg which demonstrates few things, obviously, but there are so much down the line. That's where your skill will lie. That interviewer will have merely 15 minutes to look at you. And he's going to go by your personality and resume. There are so many things which papers and just photograph won't speak. And that's like this iceberg which is beneath the water. These are the qualities that you have to bring to the table. And I'm looking at this 2x2 in the context of your first break from the campus. So this concept of value creation you must remember. Then there is a concept of innovation. Everybody who innovates will survive, will thrive, will grow, will flourish. The one who can't innovate will simply perish. But then innovation is a word loved by everybody. Not everybody has deep pockets, big financial muscle to do innovation. Big innovation comes with big risks. So there is this bar, the more you want to innovate, the more dollars you want to put in table. Nothing big happened in IC engine space, automobile space after the IC engine came in, or after Edison discovered electricity, or Google had this search engine, or Apple had their iPhone. These are disruptive innovations. They don't happen every day. Everybody wants disruptions. They don't happen. People try to spend fortune on disruptive innovations and go bankrupt. It was only because Google was Google that Google glasses experiment failed, but they did not go belly up. And then there is a small incremental thing what you are doing, and I can spend probably 15 minutes on this slide, but try to think as a small eatery entrepreneur, one vada pav wala. A vada pav wala, existing products and services, so he can move from vada pav to samosa to kachori. That is moving up. Then he moves from retailing to going to Swiggy, going to Zomato, going to franchising. That's a different process, and everybody would like to do everything. It doesn't work. Why Domino's 30-minute or 20-minute pizza work? Everybody else could have copied. Is everyone willing to make that investment? Do everyone have that innate capabilities? They don't. So focus on the small incremental things, but they don't bring extraordinary results. They will come only here, game changer, disruptive, but big heights will also have big fall. So it's not for everybody. Yeah? So the concept of innovation is very important. The next one is what are the 9-10 technologies which are industry disruptors that you must know. artificial intelligence, big data, cloud computing, Internet of Things, 3D printing, electric vehicles, storage. This is the world that is going to be reality for you for sure. You have 4 decades ahead of you. You know what are the disruptors. Study them. There is not one sector that is not affected by the digital disruptions. People who were not in that, I mean, today Apple, Sony, Google, everybody makes automobiles, but we knew only Toyota, General Motors, Ford to be automobile players. Now there are suddenly people who were not in the auto space became auto component players because they are leveraging technology. What are these disruptors we have to be very mindful about, right? Then this is one thing I would like you to remember very well. You will find yourself working as either front end, which is customer facing, which is this blue band, or you will find yourself working in this green band, which is back end. Where is your heart? Are you front ender or a back ender? You have to find out. There is this nice WhatsApp messages that go on ना, सब कुछ गूगल पे मिल जाएगा, सिर्फ खुद को ढूंढे. What do you want? But there is no, it's not going to dawn. You go to sleep, wake up next day and you know what I want. It's a process. So this is very important. Finance domain, HR domain, operations domain, quality domain, technology domain, sales domain, marketing domain, IT information systems domain. There are some roles which are customer facing. There are some roles which are back end facing. Where do you want to work? And today you are not going to get answers. Don't even get worried about finding answers. But start thinking, how do I get answers? These are, and I will leave the deck because I don't have really time. I need to finish in next 5-7 minutes. I'll leave the deck. These are the terminologies, lingos you have to bring in every day in your interactions with professors, interactions between each other, to be able to know it is my best achievement indeed and not just another degree. So these terminologies are very important. So this brings me to the topic which I should have hit maybe half an hour before. But which specialization and how? I mean, some of these things Mr. Haidar has already explained. I don't want to go in there. So specializations are like Swiss knife. They are specialists because they are specialists. So if you choose HR as a career, are there HR aspirants? Anybody wants to choose HR as a specialization? There are few hands. So if you choose, it's like coming to Pune, getting on a highway and making a choice to take the Bombay road. That will take you to Bombay, maybe Ahmedabad, Agra. It won't take you to Chennai and Bangalore, right? So if you take that turn now, these are the destinations where you are going to end. You will be staffing specialists, recruiting specialists. You will decide what people should get paid, how they should get paid, creative ways of paying, what they should be learning, unlearning to stay relevant. What are the new age skills? What is the personal welfare schemes that you need to come up with from time to time? What is the industrial relations, labor union, and things like that. There will be topic on HR, right? So the HR ones, your road goes this way. You are going to fall somewhere here if you take that route. Anybody on the finance side? I had someone had questions. So there are finance people. So if you take the finance route, which goes probably down south, that is going to take you down south, Hyderabad and Chennai and whatnot. That won't take you to Mussoorie and Agra. So you will then find yourself maintaining books of the company, doing audits, structuring capital, debt, equity, public offerings, follow public offerings, compliance, annual reports, FEMAs, investor relations, people who invest in your company, shareholders, bankers, talking to them that yes, your money is safe, this is how we are going to grow it, and so on. So finance specialization is very important. And then obviously M&A is a big one. Anybody in the marketing? usually marketing has many hands. I see not so many hands. So if you go in marketing, you are going to find yourself doing sales. Find customers for the products that you possess. Sales. Sales pitch, tenders, bids, promotions, where to win, how to play, where to win. That's strategy for winning, right? Communications, mailers, catalogs, brochures, presentations, customer roadshows, customer meets, events, exhibitions, conferences, trade fairs, seminars, conclaves, going in an era where you get closer to customer, making tenders, estimation, costing, competitive pricing, competitive strategies, market research, what is the next big product that's going to come in, how do I document my learnings, that's the marketing route. Then the next one is on operations, and operations would mean deliver on what is being sold, plan, control, maintain quality, procure, source, logistics, supply chain, real hardcore manufacturing, right? So some of these things you will find yourself doing. One of these four buckets you will have to find yourself. Which bucket, how, is a question you need to answer. Anybody knows Simon Sinek here? So if you have heard this name first time, write it down. Follow him on LinkedIn, YouTube from today. Simon Sinek. He is the modern management guru. And he has this circle concept called Golden Circle. Start with why is his book. For everything he asks why. Why? And when that why question is answered, then the question is how and then what. I mean, too less time ma'am today. Can't really complete all, but I think if the students make note and do this, you will be benefited. So you have to find answer why I want to go that road, how will I go that road, and what will I do if I take that road, right? So this is a template that has to be etched in your mind. You all are God's own children, like everyone is. Everyone is special. If everyone is special, everyone deserves special. You are not a commodity, right? Like इनको 10 इधर भेज दो, 10 उधर भेज दो, कुछ भी जॉब चलेगा, कहाँ भी जॉब. You did not come in S.B.PATIL for any job and every job, right? You came for finding where your heart is, where your dream is. So if you want to find where your heart and dream is, you will have to find that job description that you would like to work on. And this, take a photocopy, make a note, whatever it is, which company or a sector I want to work for, what will I want to start as a position, who will be my functional reportees, administrative reportees, what will be my key result areas, what will be my deliverables, how will my performance be measured, where will I be based, what is the authority will I have to be able to do my job, are the kind of intelligent questions. When we interview candidates, there are two ways. He comes and like you all are used to in a Viva, the examiner shoots and you answer. And there is another way. I say that okay, you are here for an interview, you ask questions. And we figure out who is that smart guy who asks smart, intelligent questions. Not dumb questions which can be found out in a public domain. So what questions you ask is very, very, very important. I challenge you, ma'am, if we ask anybody, everybody would want a dream job. I don't think there is a soul in this room which will have kuch bhi job chalega, ma'am. There won't be anybody, right? Otherwise they wouldn't come to your institution. But then what is that dream job is a discovery phase. If that is a discovery phase, write it down. When you write it down, you will find the path to go to that dream job. And this is exactly what this template is telling you, right? Start with why. Okay, I think this is all what my friend Mr. Haider told you in his own success story. I don't have time today to talk about it, but I think it's the attitude that we all value and look for. Nothing is more important than the teamwork, because teamwork makes dream work is what I say. Again, he spoke of not being afraid to fail. We know this iceberg, that there are so many disappointment, dejection. I think I was telling Kirti ma'am that She was absolutely spot on when she talked that Chetan Bhagat's light a spark speech, which clearly said dealing with those four storms in life effectively. And this is what tells you how to deal with those four storms. You know, a lot of things in there. The next one is again a smart work. Again, I don't have time to really go through. You all know that working hard is good, but you know, you need to apply your mind so that you really take the road that takes you to where your destination is, rather than taking any road. Communication is key. I think Mr. Haidar again spoke a lot about it. You know, be clear on what you want, express clearly, polish up your vocabulary, make sure you speak in a language that is spoken in a business terms. What do we look for? What do we look for? We look for subject matter expertise, talent. Yes, I have a graduation in history, but I have these marks and I have done that project and I am affiliated with this research. We want that kind of a talent, right? We want somebody who is doing teamwork. Everybody will say, I have done teamwork. Then you will be required to table some specific examples about teamwork. Leadership, I mean, this is one topic you will, for your life, you will have to learn about leadership. Simon Sinek will take you there. Keep reading about Simon Sinek leadership. Attitude is I spoke about entrepreneurship. Here is one success story of a young entrepreneur here. Doesn't matter if you start on a job. He told me that he also started with a job. But somewhere in his mind he had this thought that every rupiah, penny, pound, cent that I spend in that organization, I will spend as if it is my money. That's entrepreneurship. I will be rich if the company is rich. I will own that up. You know, that's entrepreneurial spirit, right? These attributes he spoke again. So what do I recommend? This is one slide, I think last but one slide. Very important. Start by setting a vision. It doesn't come just like that. Lot of food for thought. Which sector, which company? What does it take to get there? Plan A, plan B. The vision will happen. Don't wait for the apple to fall. Luck is always a bad strategy. That's what we say in management, you know. You have to work for it. Develop a global perspective. We live in a global world. Nothing, I mean, anything, any product you look at, try to understand where is this design. There is a nameplate, there is a boilerplate on every product. Where is this design? Which company is selling it? Which market it is sold? Which certification body has approved it? Who services it? Have a global perspective. Go and do real work, field visits, interact with people. Here is Mr. Haidar going inside you, telling you about how he did it. Interact with people like him who have made things happen, real life projects, so that you have stories to tell in the interview which are real stories, not the fluff. You know, we like to hear all this. Climate Change Summit had hundreds of nationalities represented. We are all joined at hips when it comes to fighting terror, when it comes to fighting environmental hazards, when it is about getting the finance. Here is a guy who studied in Japan, lived in Singapore, starting business in India. Everything is global, my friends. He said he speaks Japanese, so why have we not learned any foreign language? It's not late. Start 2 years, clock is started already, right? Cultural sensitization, intercultural strategy eats culture, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Was a famous saying that I think Michael Porter said. Culture is very important, and in India we are blessed to be in an environment where we already have a diversity of culture. But in a 2 years time, make some foreign trips, do some foreign internships. Don't have small goals. That will do you a world of good. Attend foreign conferences. That MIT sent 10,000-15,000 students to that Dubai Expo. And my son was one of them while doing engineering. They came different person when they saw it. Visiting hundreds of pavilions, seeing the technology at its best. It changes the dynamics. Cultural sensitization is extremely important. Respect cultures, focus on similarities, forget about differences, right? My time has run out. From today, if today is gone, tomorrow start Business Standard, Economic Times, Mint, Financial Express. That's for you. That's where you're going to get everyday information about the sector and a company that you would like to get a job in. That's your dream job. That's your passport to dream job. Read business papers. Doesn't matter, it's Greek and Latin on day one. It will get you the result that you want. It's really, if nothing you remember from this induction, that's also acceptable to me. You can ask what's acceptable to them. But if you take one takeaway that from tomorrow, I will start reading business newspaper, my day and time is made. Can I have that commitment from you? Yes. That's very, very weak. Very weak commitment. If you don't want to commit, you will get nowhere. You have to commit to a cause. My job, we often say in our company, it's a spray and pray formula. You can spray all the good things, the rest is up to you. Right? Thank you very much. It was a wonderful time. I could have gone on for another 2 hours, but never mind. Thanks for this.
Thank you very much, sir. What an amazing session. I think within a very short span of time, you have covered so much information. It was extremely needed, very apt, and I think it was an eye-opener for the students for their first day of induction. I hope all of you will take a lot away from this session. VUCA, market, the current scenario, all these are extremely important concepts that sir just spoke about. And I hope that all this information will help you to go much ahead and in deep, in depth of such information. Thank you very much, sir. I would also like to thank you, sir, for being here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great, sir, great. We would want a lot more time from you. Thank you for associating.